All right, guys, so in this video, we're going to be talking about enrollment periods. This is one of the most asked questions I get, especially when people are newer to Medicare, because there's so many different enrollment periods and it can get a little bit confusing as to when you can move clients and what you can suggest to clients, how you could talk about things to clients. So we're going to dive into that in this video. One of the biggest distinctions you have to make is what is private insurance and then what is government regulated programs. So Medicare supplement programs or Medigap plans, as we've covered in a different video, are private insurance companies. So as long as a client is in good health, they can enroll in one of those plans or switch plans as much as they want. The only time they can go into one of those plans without any health questions asked is when they first turn 65 or they first take on their Part B premium. So those two can be different, right? If you remember, if someone is working, they might only have Part A, and then if they retire when they're 70 years old, then they would get their Part B. Then they would be able to enroll in their Medigap plan, no health questions asked. But after that, if you meet someone in their early 70s, their Medigap plan is really expensive and they want to switch to a different Medigap plan, they're going to have to go through health qualifying questions to see if they can make that switch. So that's the first thing we just want to cover when it comes to private insurance or Medigap plans. Those you can switch year round, whereas the other options are Medicare Advantage plans and prescription drug programs, and those are going to be government regulated programs, and so they have specific enrollment periods. So let's dive into those. So like I mentioned, there are many different enrollment periods, and each one serves a different purpose. The main enrollment periods are the initial enrollment period, the IEP, the special enrollment period, the SEP, the general enrollment period, GEP, the annual election period, AEP, and the Medicare Advantage open enrollment period, the MAOEP, or it's just referred to as OEP normally for Medicare Advantage plans. So let's dive into each one of those and break down the rules behind each one of those enrollment periods so that we know when we can help clients go into a better program. So the first enrollment period is the IEP, the initial enrollment period. That is a 7-month window of time when seniors first turn 65. So it's the 3 months before the month they turn 65, the month they turn 65, and then 3 months after the month they turn 65. So it's a 7-month period. During this window of time, most people are going to get their Part A and B cards, which is your foundation for Medicare. And most people are going to choose the path they want to go down, whether it's original Medicare with a Medicare supplement or Medicare Part C, which is the Medicare Advantage plans. And so in this initial enrollment period, people are free to go either route with no health questions asked. The next period is called the special enrollment period. This period allows individuals to change their Medicare outside of their initial enrollment period. So if people are retiring and they're getting off their employer insurance, that is a special enrollment period. For a lot of our clients, if they are Medicare and Medicaid eligible and they are not in OEP or AEP, which we will cover later this video, but if they are not in one of those general periods, they can do a special election period throughout the year, which is a dual maintaining is what it's called, election period. And all of these are special enrollment periods. It just means it's a period outside of the normal. If someone moves, that's another example of it, but it's a period outside of the normal enrollment periods where someone can move or change or sign up for Medicare programs. The next period we're going to talk about is the general enrollment period. This is a less common period. It's the first 3 months of the year, so January 1st to March 31st. But if people need to sign up for Part B after the initial enrollment period, they can do it during this general enrollment period in the first 3 months of every year, and that will go into effect on July 1st of that year. The next enrollment period that a lot of people talk about and what you have probably heard of is AEP, the annual election period. And this is also known as open enrollment. And when people are talking about open enrollment, AEP is what they're normally referring to. AEP takes place from October 15th to December 7th every single year. During this annual election period, it's anything goes. People can switch from original Medicare to Medicare Advantage, and people can switch from Medicare Advantage to original Medicare. They can change their Part D prescription drug plans if they're doing it under original Medicare, or they can switch their Medicare Advantage plans from one to another. Anything goes during this annual election period, and all changes take effect on the first of the following year. So on January 1st of the following year after the annual election period. The final period we need to know about is OEP, which is the open enrollment period, and this is only for Medicare Advantage plans. So Medicare Advantage plans, again, are government subsidized plans, and with those programs, the government gives the people an opportunity to take a look and get to know their plans and the opportunity to switch one time during that open enrollment period. The open enrollment period takes place from January 1st to March 31st every single year, and this is a great opportunity when we're in the houses during this season of the year to make sure the plan people were put into as far as Medicare Advantage was the best program for them, because they can switch during this time and then get locked in for the rest of the year until the fall when AEP comes about again. So that wraps up all of the different election periods. The main ones we're going to have to know about is IEP, the initial enrollment period when people first turn 65, SEPs, the special election period where people can change if they move to a new area, if they retire from an employer and they need to enroll in a Medicare plan and they have Part B, or if they have Medicare and Medicaid and they are dual maintaining, you can switch outside of all the different enrollment periods once every quarter. And that gives people who have Medicare and Medicaid a lot more flexibility in who we would probably sell Medicare programs to throughout the year, outside of the other two periods we need to know, which is AEP, the annual election period where anything goes. So if people have a Medigap program or a Medicare supplement, they can switch to a Medicare Advantage plan, or vice versa. They can change prescription drug programs. And then the final enrollment period is OEP, where only Medicare Advantage recipients can switch and change the plan that they got effective January 1st. So hopefully that cleared up the election periods. Maybe watch this one or two more times so you know, but that is everything, and we will see you in the next video.